Hello everyone, welcome to Acknowledge, and to begin this video, I want you to visualize something for me. Think about the earliest times when you would browse Google for funny images.
That's not funny.
Yes, it is.
Of course, memes didn't have such a prevalent format when you were younger, but what about funny images of your favorite games? The most enjoyment of this that you could search for were comics. You didn't mind which site they came from or how they were made, you just wanted enjoyment out of reading someone's work who had a great sense of humor while also showing love for the same game that you do. This is why comics based on video games are great. Whether made by the game's creators or made by some amazing fans, comics made for the games you love are always a treat to read. For me, the things I love to search for are funny Mario comics. Apart from the works of companies like Capcom, who made many entertaining comics based on their games, Nintendo's most notable work remains left before the early 2000s. Back when Nintendo Power was around, Mario had his own comics put in issues abundantly. Some of these comics, especially his more darker ones, were only exclusive to German audiences, but have since been English translated by fans. If you want to see what the plots of these short comics contain, then I recommend looking at Swanky Box's videos on all the Nintendo Power Mario comics. But apart from being the Nintendo Power exclusive comics, Mario has also had his own major comics in different places. Super Mario Adventures has got to be the most recognizable official Mario comic, and over in Japan, we also have a great many manga that have been done over the years. Super Mario Kun is a long-running series that puts Mario in a more chibi art style, spanning many volumes that take him across the stories of different games. This is the most current Mario manga, and the only one still running, covering games all the way up to Super Mario Odyssey and Luigi's Mansion 3. Older manga published for similar artists covered single short strips of games, like Super Mario Sunshine. This panel of Mario with shades has got to be my most favorite piece of official art. I can talk about these for much longer, like the Wario Land one where Captain Syrup gives Mario a hand, but we're here for something made from the fans. Mario is a very chill space when it comes to the comics made from the creative fans. DeviantArt may seem like a bad place to many, but with Mario, the many comics are very fun to read. The most popular ones to get attention are those made as a series. The artist Nintendo Art currently works on 2 different comics, and Boogeyman has had some attention for a second installment in the 3 Little Princesses series. Some artists like Abstinence make multiple short comics, which are loved as the kind that are tossed around through memes on Instagram. The thing is made from fans like these are loved by communities greatly, but not too many know of the Mario comic that had high prosperities, and ended too early when it was just starting to get good. In this video, we're covering the fan comic New Super Mario Adventures, a tale that took inspiration from the Nintendo classic comic and made a brand new beginning of the Mario Bros. Story. Up ahead, I run through parts of the comic and what it includes. If this is your first look at the comic you'd like to read into it before continuing, I suggest going to the site Snafu Comics where it's currently being held to read it for yourself, or watch the full comic fan dub by Hype Voiceacting. Both links will be in the description. New Super Mario Adventures is something I just happened to come across while browsing Mario comics. Just by looking at the cover art for it, the design is so flashy and eye-catching that it will take a couple seconds of time to notice all the little details of the scene. You got the unofficial Nintendo seal of quality, love how it's inputted in there, and the watermark of MarioComics.com, the site with which the comic was formerly held on quite a long time ago. Now for making this video, I was worried that since the site isn't up anymore, I wouldn't be able to show all the previous background information that was shown about the comic and its progress, but as a secondary thought, I decided to take to the Wayback Machine for unexpected results. So what can we find by going back to MarioComics.com?
What we do here is go back.
You can't imagine how nostalgic I felt at this moment. To see the shades of blue fill my vision was a wonder. The site looks so bubbly, so fun. The retro menu at the top banner is awesome. It navigates you at the start screen, and it's all you really need on the site. Just a clean, simple menu showing everything the comic and its creators had to offer. Across this menu we have Start. Start the adventure from the beginning. Select. View the archive. Continue. Continue from the latest issue. About. More about the comic and its creators. Contact. Get in touch with us. And on the side, an assortment of all social links related to the comic and its creators. I also love the Mario icons across the background. Everything about this site is so welcoming. Because of this being an archived site, not all pages are preserved, and that also includes the pages of the comic here. This means not every link across the menu can take you to an archived page, but the one that I'm really glad is archived is the About page, which gives us everything we need to know about the fantastic people behind this comic. So before we dive into the comic itself, let's see what the creators are all about.
This is when you know you have no friends.
Right as the page is up, we agree to some adorable artwork. Here we have the team that put the comic together. Earth Gui, James Man the Reginald, Some Guy, which is of course our main man Mario, and Danny 8-Bit. These three people worked on this comic with passion, and the information across the site really shows. Under the art, we see everyone's descriptives, so let's read what they all have to say to get to know them better. Danny 8-Bit, an aspiring storyteller who developed and writes this comic. Major influences include Nintendo, obviously, Hayao Miyazaki, Jeff Smith, Ian Flynn, Joss Whedon, and a bunch of other dudes that he got too lazy to list. James Man the Reginald, a character artist with a passion for not only video games, but music as well. Just be careful, he might bite. Some of his influences include Akira Toriyama, Rumiko Takahashi, Tetsuya Nomura, Disney, Nintendo, Capcom, Konami, and several others. Earth Gui made an art career early on in her life and is an aspiring cartoonist and game designer. Her biggest life influences are the Disney and Pixar companies, Don Bluth, and now recently Nintendo and Michael Ansel's work on the Rayman games. And there's the team behind New Super Mario Adventures, 3 Nintendo fans just making a Mario series of their own. Danny 8-Bit was the main runner of the site and had his own news section at the front page, updating readers with everything relevant. I don't think this was mentioned anywhere in the news or information, but I do feel the team had to have taken inspiration from the now cancelled Nintendo and Archie Comics idea for a Mario comic series. It would have been insane for Mario to share the same comic publishers as Sonic, and as for this to be cancelled, I could see how much inspiration this could have taken just from the cover alone. Besides all that, why don't we run through the comic and learn just how good it was for its time. The comic starts with a different and unique kind of approach for a Mario Bros. Story. There isn't actually an official story to Mario. We don't even know if the games have a set time apart from each other. All we know is that Mario goes on a journey to stop Bowser and save the princess, and once that journey is over, he's succeeded. But throughout many older interpretations of Mario, like the DIC cartoons and the 1993 movie, it's portrayed to show Mario and Luigi living in Brooklyn when they find themselves entering the Mushroom Kingdom through a pipe, or a freaking portal, which is the reason for different types of fan comics and stories to follow that kind of introduction. Even when the use of life in Brooklyn is done by a couple different series, I kinda like the way different artists make use of the warp pipe scenario. Just looking at these ones, done their own comic stories, really shows how it can be implemented well. And even when it doesn't include such origins, the story we're looking at here has got to be my favorite in every way, which is sad since it's such a lost project. Despite all that, let's see how our 3 creators made New Super Mario Adventures. Beginning with issue 1. The pages start with a scene of chaos. Mario and everyone looks in shock at the sight that gazes above them. Bowser attacks, planning something grand, but before we get there, we're treated to a step back. Our setting has Mario and Luigi taking a stroll to the princess's castle, and this is one of my favorite things about the comic's design. It doesn't have to start in Brooklyn or anywhere else in the Mushroom Kingdom. If this is where it begins, it's already amazing. Props to you, Danny, if you wrote this that is. The thing I like that it does with this setting is it includes the Mario Bros. Plumbing business. We don't see Mario and Luigi doing actual plumbing in the games, but it's still a very nice detail to see the two being who they're known to be. And despite being ordinary plumbers, Mario is surprised that they got a job too with the princess's castle. Once they arrive, Toadsworth greets them, then leads them to the problem that needs solving underground.
Oh, mamma mia!
Loads of pipes are a mess in the area, and Mario is committed to solving the task. He and Luigi get to work right away, and just when they think their work is finished, Bowser's baddies appear to be the real problem, who then take stage and attack. Mario and Luigi fight them off with the tools at hand, and become victorious when they realize something's wrong. They notice they fought Koopas, who are supposed to be exiled from the Mushroom Kingdom. When that becomes apparent to them, a lone Firefly is escaping the aftermath. Mario takes swift action and grabs onto him, and pretty quickly ends up being sent into the main hall. The Firefly moves forward to his throne room, and with Mario powerless, all he can do is warn everyone inside. The Fiend then loosens Mario and aims for Princess Peach, and surprisingly to Mario, she appears to be in no danger, as she very easily takes him out with a frying pan. Then after Mario gets caught in his emotions, Peach and Toad get acquainted with him. Mario then has to explain what happened that led to the Firefly invading the castle, but then reminds himself of informing them about the Koopas returning. Everyone is surprised not just by the anomaly, but what it means for the kingdom. When they come to terms with who else is returned alongside the Koopas, Luigi brings to their attention of the impending threat outside. As they scurry to see what approaches, they know it to be true. Before them stands Bowser, King Koopa himself. Continuing the issue 2, we start with a special introduction. A young Princess Peach comes to her father and wants to know what a Koopa is. Hearing from Toadsworth, she can't help but wonder. Her father tells her simply how Koopas are just bullies to the kingdom, and that he's doing everything in his power to get them banished. Despite all this, he tells the young princess that she doesn't need to worry, because he'll protect her from the Koopas. As Peach remembers these words well, with an airship staring her people down, a Koopa descends to deliver Bowser's message. Bowser requests the princess to see him on his airship, and that if she refuses, he would have no problem continuing destruction to the kingdom. Peach willingly accepts, and as Mario and everyone insist she refuse, she believes it's the only right option at the moment. After she says her goodbyes to everyone, she's taken to Bowser at once. With Mario and the crew below wondering what to do next, they're quickly stopped by Kamek, who summons a squad of Koopas and Goombas ready to battle. But right as the fight begins, this is where the story sadly ends. To have such a final page displaying the beginning of an ambitious fight is a real surprise for the reader. The fact that this scene is the end of what was an ongoing, very strong series is jarring in so many ways. This comic had so many goals going for it. Just by seeing the cover for issue 2, you can not only notice that Peach is to use a fire flower and will be introduced to Hammer Bros, but also in the top right, we were expecting to look forward to 2 more issues that made up 4 in total. Maybe not to complete the series, but at least for the time being. This surprised me when looking back on the second issue, because you can see the creators had a lot more hope for it than some of us ever did. This also feels like a side note, but it kind of disappoints me that the dubbed video didn't go all the way to issue 2 and only stopped at the end of issue 1. I feel a good chunk of viewers never knew there was a little more content to read than they thought, had they not seen the comic in full. Now, despite this being a very depressing bit, I want to move on to the actual epilogue of it all. So let's see what all the extra information I grabbed has to give us. The first of this is from the newsfeed on the site, provided by our man Danny 8-Bit. Though a good majority of it is archived on the front page, not all updates are able to be accessed. I won't be reading through every possible archived update, as we'll only be looking at one of the final few. Here's what Danny had to say on the site at the time of the comic's concluding demise. New Super Mario Adventures is moving. Hey guys, long time, no update, I know. Life's been a bit hectic for me the last couple of months, but trust me, the comic is far from dead. It's very much alive. So alive, in fact, that it's actually sprouting legs and moving. NSMA has just officially become a part of the Snafu Comics network. Will now be alongside webcomic classics such as Powerpuff Girls G, Grim Tales, and Ever After. The site will still update with new pages for a bit, but the idea is to eventually get all the readership properly heard over to Snafu. Bearing that in mind, expect new pages to appear on Snafu first, by a few days, before they're uploaded here. Come check us out here. Thanks for all of your guys' support, and I hope you're all as excited about this move as I am. Stay frosty, everyone. It's pretty sad how the site was left untweeted from that point on. After a few years of being silent, the site was then shut down some time ago. As I said earlier, the comic is currently available on Snafu Comics, which is the only place it's publicly available to read all pages. Aside from this, the only relevant thing I found which gives a bit more information to our epilogue is a tweet from Danny Becker 2019. Here's a bit more on what he had to say about the comic. Happy Mario Day. Guess I'll plug my old, discontinued webcomic from a few years ago again, New Super Mario Adventures. James the Reggie and Earthquake handled all the illustrations and colors, while I handled the writing and managed the site. Matt Herms also covered both the covers to each chapter for us. This whole thing started as an experiment, to see what a modern, officially licensed Mario comic would look and feel like, since no such thing currently exists. It was pretty short-lived, only updated for about a year, but it was an invaluable experience for me as a writer. Anyway, if you'd like to check it out, it's at mariocomics.com. Here's hoping we can get an actual official Mario comic from Nintendo in the near future. Well, I gotta say you did an amazing job holding the site up, Danny. You made it so comfortable, so appealing, and overall helped work on an amazing comic that for a short amount of time entertained so many Nintendo fans like me. Thank you for everything you and the other creators have done with the time you had to make this comic what it was. With all that said and done, this is going to conclude the tale of what once was New Super Mario Adventures. Thank you all for watching, and thank you for taking the time to watch my video on behalf of appreciation of the comic. In terms of art by Nintendo fans, Mario fan comics aren't so rare, but one that went to such an extent as to host its own site for reading is something I think a lot of us can love and cherish even now that's gone. Such ideas will always remain in our hearts and thoughts, and for this video to remain with you, I hope it was enough for you to think about subscribing and liking the video if you enjoyed. For all Nintendo fans such as myself, comics of the characters we love are wonders to read and laugh with. I look forward to making more Nintendo related videos to come, and until the next time you join me on such a journey, this is Noel, and I'll see you guys.